Today I'm going to attempt something I've never done before. I'm going to see if this portable inflator from Kohree can blow out the water lines on my RV. Now, a couple months back, I published a video why and how I never winterize my RV. So if you didn't catch that video, I'll put a card up and a link below. Definitely check it out. I basically explain why and how I never winterize my RV, and that is the typical pattern for me. But the solutions that I presented in that video may not work for everyone. You may not have access to shore power, or you may live in a climate that gets much colder than it does here where I live in North Georgia. Well, Kohree sent me this portable inflator a couple months back, and I tested it for inflating tires, which is what it's designed for. So if you're interested in it for that particular use case, I'll put a card up and a link below to that video. But I started thinking, I wonder if I could use this portable inflator to blow out the water lines on my RV. I mean, if you're going to spend money on a product, it's great if you can get multiple use cases out of it. And so today I'm going to experiment and see what it's like using a small portable inflator like this one here to blow out the water lines on my RV. Now, this is just a basic portable inflator from Kohree, but what makes it useful for this particular use case is that I can set a target PSI, turn the inflator on, and then walk away from it. You don't have to be constantly holding a button on here to inflate like a lot of portable inflators work. And so if all goes as planned, this should be a one-man operation. All right, before I get started, let me just mention that there are a lot of different ways to winterize an RV, a lot of different methods, and certainly a lot of different opinions out there, right? And so what I'm showing you today is just one particular method to doing it. And really the goal is the same when it comes to winterizing, whether you're blowing out your lines with air or using antifreeze. It's to replace all the water that's in your water lines and the entire water system really in the RV with either air or antifreeze. And so if you're doing with antifreeze and you have a pump on your RV, which most RVs have, then typically there's going to be a diverter valve where you can suck in that antifreeze through the built-in 12-volt pump, and that'll pump it through all the different fixtures. And that way you can replace all the water with antifreeze. And so it's a little bit different when you're blowing out the lines, but basically I'm going to use the city inlet and use that to force air, compressed air through and replace all the water with compressed air. So then the rest of it really comes down to the specifics on your RV, your particular RV's floor plan concerning the number of fixtures and really just the entire water system itself. But the idea is that I'm going to force compressed air through that city inlet and then go to each fixture. I've got a kitchen sink directly behind that window there, and then the bathroom, I've got a fixture on the sink, the shower, the toilet. I also have a bidet, so I'll hit that as well. And then on the opposite side of the RV, I have a spray port. And of course, there's also a spray port right here. So the idea is that I'm going to individually open each one of those fixtures one at a time and force, all that water out of the system, replacing it with air. And typically I find it works best if I do, one fixture, one valve at a time, and work with either cold or hot, separately. Don't do it all at the same time. So my method today is I'm going to start with the cold water and basically start with the closest fixture, the closest valve to the city inlet, and then go all the way down the line to the furthest. And then don't forget, most RVs are going to have low point drains. Mine are all the way in the back down there, and that's kind of like another fixture, another valve that you can, force more water out of. And so really the goal is just don't forget any of your fixtures in particular. A lot of times in forums you'll read about folks that forget the outdoor shower or the spray port. Those are still fixtures, or they forget the toilet, right? And then I also want to deal with the hot water heater, and it seems the majority of RVs nowadays are being equipped with tankless hot water heaters, just like this one here. This is the Furrion. There's several different vendors that make these, and so depending on which one you have, with the tankless, typically there's going to be one or two different drain valves, and so I'll show you that as well, because basically it's another fixture. Now, if you've got a conventional hot water heater, then you're still going to want to drain it. So these are kind of treated the same in terms of blowing out the water. And then the only other part that I need is this guy right here. This is a garden hose to Schrader valve adapter. And so this will allow me to connect the portable inflator right here on the Schrader valve, and then the opposite end to my city water inlet. And I'm going to go ahead and thread that on to my city water inlet. And then I'm going to connect the inflator directly to that Schrader valve and get everything snugged up. Now I'm going to set the inflator to 25 PSI. We'll see how that works. Let me get it to the right mode first. So it's in the custom mode, and there it is, already set to 25 PSI. So let's go ahead and get it turned on. And then I'm going to do this outdoor shower first. So it's sputtering water, of course. And basically I'm just going to let it run until pretty much I'm seeing just some mist, some air come out of it. And that way I know I've got all the cold water out of here. All right, that's pretty good. I'm not getting much, so I'm going to go now inside, and I'm going to turn on the kitchen first. Just kind of depends on your floor plan, but the kitchen is first on mine, and so I'm going to go over here and turn on the cold right there. Get all that drained out. All right, so the kitchen looks like it's about done. Then I'm going to move next on to the bathroom here. Again, just doing the cold first. Hearing mostly air. You know, so the further down the line I go, I expect to see less and less water, hear more and more air. I can hear some gurgling, so I mean, there's definitely still some water in the lines, but it looks like this one's going to be just air. All right, then we're going to go to the shower over here and make sure this thing's on. It's got a little bit. Let that drain. All right, that's pretty good for the shower. Leave that there for the hot later. And then definitely don't forget the toilet. That is one that is easy to forget for sure. And there we go, we got some water here. And then you'll notice off to the left that I have a bidet on this toilet. And so again, that's another fixture that I've got to account for. And so I'll do that one as well. And it's actually a hot and cold bidet. It's got a thermostatic mixing valve down there. And so I've got to make sure that I purge both the hot and cold out of there. Looks pretty good for the toilet there. All right, so we got the bidet here. It's a pretty weak stream, so it is actually staying in the toilet. Oh, there it goes, a little bit stronger. Got to make sure you got a hand there to catch it. And now it's just a little bit of air. Oh, a little more water. And if y'all have never seen a bidet and want to see one up and close in action, here it is. It's just basically your city water, kind of giving you a nice shower there. And this one's got both a rear and a front. And so it looks like it's just about done. I'm going to flip it to the other and make sure that one's purged. And now for the rear. Got just a little bit, mostly air there. And then I'll do the foot flush on the toilet one more time just to make sure there's no more water, because basically the toilet and the bidet, they pull from a very similar position in the water lines there. I've got one more to do outside, and that is the spray port over here. I think this one's very easy to forget about because it's on the outside. But let me go ahead and open it up. And I've got a bucket down there to catch any water. So yeah, just a little bit. And basically that's pretty much the end of the cold. I can hear just a little bit of gurgling in the line still. And so last I'm going to do my low point drain. Pump is still going strong there. My low point drain is all the way in the back here. And I've got another bucket here to catch any of the water that might come out of here. The pump just shut off, so it looks like the pump has some kind of operating timer on it perhaps. And when it reaches that limit, it shuts off. So I'm going to turn it on again. And now I've got the cold low point open. over here, and it looks like it's just about empty anyway. And so I've closed up the cold low point drain. And so now all the valves are shut, and we can see that the pump is actually starting to build pressure. And that's what I really like about this, is I don't have to worry about, over pressurizing the system. Once it gets to 25, it's going to shut off. And so there's a little bit of peace of mind there. And there it goes. It shut off. So basically the lines are all closed up. It's pressurized to 25 PSI. Now I'm going to move on to the hot and make sure that's all drained. Pump is running again. I'm going to turn on the hot fixture right here. And this again is my first fixture I'm turning on. And the pump actually reached 25 PSI. That was pretty quick. Let me go ahead and turn it on again. There we go. So I guess that is one downside to having the pump shut off like that, is that it may occasionally reach 25 PSI if you don't get a valve open fast enough. And so you might have to turn it on again. Looks like we're getting just a little bit of mist there. So then I just basically repeat. And I'm going to go back into the RV and do the kitchen first. Go all the way down to the bathroom. So now we're doing the hot. Lots of mist. Looks pretty good. All right, we're gonna go to the bathroom here. Same thing, hot. Just a little bit of mist, mostly air. And let's go to the shower next. You're mostly air come out of there. Yep. And then again, I got to do the bidet because it is a hot and cold bidet. Mostly just air at this point. Just a little bit of mist in there. Well, slight problem. The internal battery on the inflator is completely discharged. The good news is they designed it so that it can also run off of 12 volt. And so I pulled out a power station right here. They give you this standard 12 volt socket. And so we should be able to run it off of this, just like if you're plugging it into your car. And so let's see if this will actually work. We're going to go ahead and power it on. Let's see, I need to make sure this is turned on. There we go. Try that again. There it goes. All right, let's get it in the right mode again. So in the custom mode, and set it to 25 PSI. Okay, so let's see if we can run off of 12 volt now. Now while it's pressurizing, I need to run back to the tankless hot water heater. I've got the Furrion tankless, and open up the little drain valves. There's 2 of them, and it's gonna sputter a little bit here. Woo! Quite a bit. And then I need to do this top one as well. So the bottom one is brass, and then the top one is plastic. And there we go, and it's got a little filter on it. So those are the 2 on the Furrion. Everyone's gonna be a little bit different, but those are the 2 on mine that I've got to open up to make sure they're drained. And I can hear a little bit of gurgling. And so next I'm gonna move to the low point drain over there, and that should take care of what's left. And then just to finish up, I like to go over the ones that I've already done, just make sure that I'm just getting air out of here. So you can hear that air. No water on this one. Let's check the bathroom again. Yeah, I mean, just a tiny bit of mist that's coming out here, mostly all air. And so all that air right now is being driven by the Cowree portable inflator. All right, inflator's still working hard. I'm gonna check the low point drains one more time here, and just make sure that I don't have anything else. Just a little bit coming out of the hot. Do the cold next. Let's see if there's anything coming out of that one. Just a little bit. All right, so I've got everything drained. I'm gonna go ahead and shut the pump off. Now for those curious, this hose here is just a little bit warm to the touch. It's not hot, it's not burning my hand, but I can definitely feel that the pump has been working hard. Now the only thing left for me to do is to drain any remaining water in my filter housing. If you have a built-in filter on your rig, you just wanna make sure that it is fully drained. I've got maybe just about 2 inches or so in the bottom of the filter there. All right, so all the lines are blown out, both the hot and the cold. The fixtures are all clear. The tankless hot water is clear. The low point drains are clear. Everything is blown out. And so what was it like using a portable inflator like this one here? Like I said, I've never done it that method before in the past. When I've blown out lines, I've just used a conventional air compressor, 10 gallon that's in my garage. Turn the regulator down so it doesn't overpressurize the lines. And so what was it like using this portable one this time? Well, first off, I'll say that it did not overheat. It was definitely up for the job. I did run out of battery, like you noticed. I think if I was doing it a second time, I probably could get the whole RV done on a single charge, but really no big deal because it's provisioned to plug into 12 volt power, and then you can keep on using it. I will say one thing I did notice is it has some kind of timeout on it, where if the compressor is running continuously and it's not reaching the set PSI there, that it seems like at some point it times out. And I think it was probably between 5 and 10 minutes of continuously running that it did that. And so I would come out to the compressor. It didn't overheat because it would let me turn it right back on, and then it would run for another 5 to 10 minutes before timing out. So there's just some kind of safety feature, I imagine there. But other than that, it worked flawlessly. So the big question is this the ideal method, or I should say the ideal tool, to blow out the water lines when you're trying to winterize your RV? And I think if you already have a conventional air compressor in your garage, with a big tank on it, then that's going to work better, obviously. I mean, if you set the regulator down so that it's not overpressurizing the water lines, that's probably gonna be more seamless. But what if you're at a storage lot and you need to winterize your RV and you don't have a full-fledged air compressor? I actually think this tool could really serve its purpose in that particular use case. If you're somewhere where you just don't have access to an air compressor, and it doesn't take much air pressure to blow out the water lines. And so even though it's small, it's completely up for the task. So I really think that is where a tool like this could shine. And then the fact that you already have this perhaps as an emergency inflator for your tires on your truck or your RV, and so then it doubles to blow out the water lines. I always think it's neat when you can use a specific product or a particular tool for multiple use case scenarios and really get your money's worth out of it, right? Well, anyways, folks, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about this Cowree portable inflator, definitely drop me a comment below and I'll do my best to answer those questions. If you're interested in purchasing this portable inflator from Cowree, I will include affiliate links down below, so I appreciate you using those to help support the channel. As always, thanks for watching.